#1 agent in the Green Valley office, Realty One Group, 168 transactions last year. He is a rock star. He's awesome. He works a little bit harder than most people. But let's welcome Jim Brooks, everybody. There you go.
Morning, everyone. I'm not a big presenter, but I told Wally I'd come and help, so I probably won't stand the whole time. If you don't mind, I'm just a fellow agent like you guys, so I'll sit. I wrote some notes, and Wally asked me to come up today and do a little teaching, and so I talked to him, and we kind of brainstorm on what would have value, what would be beneficial. And a lot of the presentations that I've done in the past is kind of how I got started in the business, what I do I do social media, websites, and so while I think there's some benefit to that, I think the real benefit, we looked at one specific area, and what I came up with was, what do we do on a day-to-day basis? And I think that's where we as realtors fail a lot. When you get your license, they don't give you a manual and say, here you go, let's go out and do this, this, and this. You punch in at 8 o'clock, you get out at 5, as we know. And that's one of the reasons I think a lot of people like real estate, is due to the freedom of it. But does everyone have a day-to-day schedule planned out with set activities that are going to produce income and production? You don't have to raise your hand. I think the answer is probably no, because I would be one of them. I get off track sometimes as well. And so what I've seen, and a lot of this comes from the agents on my team, is that we don't have day-to-day activities, and so we have this sporadic production of income. You get a deal or two going, and all the focus goes into the deal. Then 30 days down the road, you have no deals going, you got to get back into producing the deals. And so the way that we like to do it on our team is we like to have predictable results and not sporadic results. And I know there's probably new agents in here, there's top producers, there's people with large teams in here working at the level that I do. And when you have a team and you have that kind of expense on a monthly basis, you can't have sporadic results. You have to have predictable results, or you'll be out of business real quick. And so what I wrote a couple notes down, and I just want to kind of start out by going through this. So to go through and have day-to-day activities, does anyone have a real good set of day-to-day activities that they'd like to share that's been productive for them, or a lack of?
Daryl?
I mean, I think my biggest day-to-day activity is just making sure, I call it the hour of power. It's a Tom Ferry thing.
Okay, yep, familiar with it.
I try to make it more than an hour, but need my minimum hour a day of phone prospecting, and just getting in touch with past clients, doing my follow-up on leads, which usually ends up being about 2 or 3 hours. But try to knock that out first thing in the morning, so then I have my afternoons to go show property or take listings.
And then, so are you you doing that pretty much 5 days a week?
6.
6?
Yeah.
Okay. And how, I think that'll be beneficial to the class here, how do you get committed, or who holds you accountable, or how do you make sure that gets done?
My little partner over
Where's
there.
Jillian?
You make sure it gets done. So I know it gets done.
We hold each other accountable.
Okay.
Which is the biggest reason why we joined
Sure.
forces. Yeah.
And that...
I was doing that.
Waving. So I think that's a perfect term, the accountability. That's where we have the biggest issue on our team, and I think that's where the biggest lapse in the business is who do you have to hold you accountable? I have business coaches and business consultants that hold me accountable, but crappy thing is I have to pay them to hold me accountable. So I told Wally, I said, let's make it a little bit more of a workshop today and break it down and just try if we can get some real value in what we're doing. So bear with me here. I had to write all this out so I didn't get out of line. So before we can go into this, the first thing that I wrote down I think is important to discuss is mindset. We have to need to change the way that we think. As you know, everyone is licensed in here, or most of you, I'm assuming, and getting your license is pretty easy, but going and consistently making production and doing deals isn't quite so easy. And so the one thing that we focus on with our team is purposeful activities. If you're going to do something, it takes the same amount of time to do it half-assed as to do it purposeful. So we really look at what is the focus, what is the why. You hear everyone say, why are you in real estate? What's your why? And I don't want to overkill that, but I do think it's important to identify, why are you getting up every day? What are you doing this for? Is it obviously financially is usually a big part of it. What else is value to, what is important to you? And so to get into that mindset, I think you really need to look at your business and what is important to you. And the one analogy that I put down here I thought was kind of relevant was when I was a younger kid, I used to sell gym memberships. And so when people would come into the gym, we'd have them fill out a questionnaire, kind of taking the bullets out of the gun. We knew kind of what the big stoppers were from preventing people to move forward with purchasing a membership. And so the one question on the questionnaire was, how long have you been thinking about getting in shape or exercising? And the common answer was, what, sorry?
My whole life.
Okay, perfect. Well, most common answer was like 12 to 18 months, and then so we tour them through the gym, and I would kind of make light of it, make a little joke of it, but it was a really kind of pinpoint question. And I said, we'd look at it and say, so I see you've been looking at getting in shape for 18 months, and how's that thinking about a program working for you? Have you lost any weight from that? Are you getting the physique that you want? And so it's just kind of mindset of, are you committed, and why are you doing what you're doing? I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a therapist, I don't think I can fix those problems today, but if you can identify that, then I think the next thing that we need to go into is, what is your job? What is your job on a day-to-day basis? And I want to spend a little time on that today. I'll share kind of what we've broken down for our team and what is our job. And this is a little bit what I was talking to you about. I think most people's jobs should be 2 or 3 of the top activities that produce the most transactions for them. And so I'd like to just take a little time and just kind of get an idea of everyone in here, what their top 3 activities are that generate them the most amount of transactions in real estate. And
let's kick it off. So who's doing business that you get a lot of business from? What kind of activities do you do? Open houses? What are you guys doing that's making some noise out there? What are you guys doing? Anybody? Anything? Daryl, what do you got?
My biggest is my sphere of influence. So just contacting my database regularly.
So is it manual contact? Is it an auto drip system?
Everything.
All of that.
It's like an 18-prong attack. You know, it's.
So you've got a system in place to contact your sphere of influence. Okay.
Yeah, I contact my sphere probably 60 times a year. Every person in my database.
That's amazing.
60 touches roughly. I've come up with, and they say the minimum should be at least 30 times a year. But I mean, if you send 2 emails a month, that's 24 times. You call them once a month, there's another, that's 36.
So you're having one phone call per month? We're trying to.
I try to, yeah, it's probably, the phone call probably is more like once every 2 months, to be honest, but actual physical.
And it works though, right? Is that your number one conversion of any of your communication?
The emails, the social media, reaching out, commenting on their stuff on social media is huge, trying to be a part of their little world. You know, I mean, it's all just recognition, you know, just gonna try to stay on their mind.
Gotcha. So you said a lot. You're doing phone calls, emails, and social media. Right. Darren, should we ask you what you're doing?
I wake up every day.
Our number one sales volume.
I come to the office, and people call me. No, really, in the Ninja marketing program, that's a big part of it. I mean, they have a very rigid schedule every morning where you write 2 personal note cards to past clients. Just nothing about real estate, just something, you know, personal. Hey, just thinking about you. I hope you're doing great. Saw that you had a new baby. You know, so you know, just loving on them. And so, you know, what you hope is that they will just, you know, keep you in front of the other agents that they know. But the other big thing is phone calls. So you do 2 personal note cards a day, and then you try to reach out to at least, you know, 60 people a week. Past clients, phone calls, just, hey, how you doing? Right. Nothing about real estate, just, you know, just reaching out, just, you know, talking to people.
But it's purposeful activity that you're committed to. Who holds you accountable to do it? Yourself or?
No, the Panos team. They hold me accountable. They're not very I need somebody like Jillian that really holds me accountable.
They're too nice.
But I mean, I just and usually I'm pretty self-disciplined. Like I'll reach out to my past clients, and I run into them all the time, and But really, the biggest feeder for me is just my sphere of influence. It's just past past deals, past clients, just trying to love on them without saying, hey, do you got anybody that needs to buy or sell a house? Just call me.
Right.
That turns people off usually.
So, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm somewhat familiar with the ninja selling system, but as a relatively newer agent who doesn't have a very large sphere of influence, because both answers revolve around that,
Right.
what would someone here recommend for developing that database or pulling people in your system?
Jillian looks like she got an answer. I'll write out kind of what we do. Go ahead.
So it's funny, I was just talking to Daryl about this yesterday, and I was telling him that right now, today, I either have 8 deals in escrow or listed that all came from my neighborhood. And it's not, the funny thing is, not one home is listed in my neighborhood. They're all people either in my neighborhood because I am super social in my neighborhood. I mean, there is not one week that goes by that I don't have dinner with somebody in the neighborhood. Two to three times a week, my family has dinner with somebody in the neighborhood. I love on my neighborhood, like, you could give me $10 million, I wouldn't move. I love on my neighborhood. There's 80 homes. I probably am super good friends with 60 of the households. I work that neighborhood like crazy. So I was telling Daryl yesterday, I have almost $5 million in escrow today from my neighborhood. Either people selling their investment properties, buying investment properties, giving me their brother, their sister. We were taking 2 potential listings yesterday. I went and did listing appointments that are gonna buy, all from referrals from the neighborhood. So to answer your question, and mine came more naturally because I'm a super social person and I wanted to socialize with everyone in my
But
neighborhood.
it doesn't happen overnight either, right?
No, but I would say over the years, my neighborhood has been the number one most referral source. I mean, I've probably made $500,000 off my neighborhood. I mean, in commissions over the years. Granted, I've lived there for a long time, but I throw barbecues, I throw parties. That's all natural though. I just love my neighbors. So I throw barbecues, parties, every holiday we're together, we go on vacation together. I mean, super social neighborhood. But when I first moved in, I didn't know anybody. But I have kids, and so the way I wanted my kids to get to know people is I just started doing, I did a Halloween party for the kids. I did a Valentine's Day party for the kids. Just started flyering my neighborhood, like, hey, come and socialize with me. And my neighborhood is the number one most referral source for me ever. I mean, I'm known as like the realtor in the neighborhood, but even though I sell outside that neighborhood, I'm selling all over the valley. And even from the east side to Red Rock to the northwest right now, all listed from my neighborhood. So go out, be social with people, and maybe it's not your neighborhood, maybe it's your church, maybe it's your gym, maybe it's your youth group, maybe it's your whatever that you're involved in, maybe it's the kids' school. My second biggest is the kids' school. And my kids go to 3 different schools, but my one daughter's school has been tremendous for me. I make a ton of money off the school.
Really no right or wrong. Everyone's going to have to kind of work a niche that works for them. Yeah. Obviously, she's very social, so most of her business sounds like it's coming from face-to-face interaction with people.
I think to go along with that too, I think the mistake is a lot of agents are really good about meeting new people, but they're not really good about keeping in contact and keeping track of those people. So it's big to have
even the ones that are good at it are bad at it.
Yeah, exactly. Once you meet them, you got to keep them in your bucket. So you got to get a good CRM, make sure you put their names, phone numbers, email addresses, and then you got to love them.
Right. So back to your question. Let me go over real quick, kind of a little breakdown of our team. So we have 2 divisions. We have our single family, and then we have our high-rise division. And on our single family is mostly newer agents. So we have a set of what we call minimum standards. I'm sorry, my handwriting's poor, but yeah, that's part of it. So minimum standards. We have 3 minimum standards that we know if our agents hit, and they do Monday through Friday, that they're going to close an average about 1.8 transactions a month. We're tracking this system in 7 different states, and that's the average agent. So an above agent should be doing 3, 3.5. A below agent's probably doing 1 or less than 1. But the 3 main activities that we're doing Monday through Friday, we make them commit to, is first one, when they come in, is going to be sphere of influence. We make them come in with 100 people in their sphere of influence. And it's a very detailed list. They have to have name, phone number, address, and email, and they need to have contacted each one of them. And what we get is they'll come with about 50, and they'll have a phone number, but no email, or like, I can't get 100, I don't know 100 people. And the first thing we send them to is go into your contacts in your cell phone. We consider a sphere of influence anyone that you can pick up the phone and they know who you are and you can tell them that you're in real estate. And so it's hard to get the agents to commit to this, but statistics show that 44% of agents nationwide, their business comes from the sphere of influence. So why not have them focus on that? It's half of their business. And we have a lot of agents that are new. It's a real transient town, so we get a lot of agents like, well, I just moved here a year ago. I don't have any sphere of influence. If you're a team leader on a team looking at people like this is a big red flag for us, because real estate's a social business. If you're not likable, if you don't have a sphere of influence, you're probably not going to succeed in real estate. So those people, we usually just send them down the road. Yes, sir.
So what would your suggestion be for, say, approaching or making that phone call to a cold relationship? So when you met, let's say at a peak event, maybe at like a professional club, just out and about, you get their business card, but it's not until later on, maybe 2 weeks go by, you find that card, or for whatever reason, life gets busy and you just haven't been in contact.
Sure.
Even if it's several months, do you have a strategy in place?
Yeah, there's a few different scripts. I would maybe email or personal note.
Okay.
We send a lot of those. And I don't think it's so much an exact script as actually just doing it. Hey, this is John. I just want to let you know we met a couple weeks ago. I'm in real estate. I work with the top team at Realty One Group, and I know you're professional in town. I'd love to stay in touch, network with you, blah, blah, blah. Just actually doing it, getting those people into your database, and like you were saying, staying in touch with them. So that's the first one. We don't let them start on our team until they have 100. And we'll sometimes get people that are real strong, and we'll settle at 70 or 80, but we push for 100 because we know if we help them market to it, close to half their business is going to come from that.
And so that would include vendors as well?
Anyone that you believe you can get business from.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, we get a lot of business from our vendors if you ask them. Most people don't ask them for business.
Yeah.
So that would be one. The second one we do is, let's go here. The second one we do is open houses. We require 6 a month. Minimum of 3 hours. A lot of teams will do 4. If you don't have any business, especially with how the market is now, there's more buyers than there is inventory, getting an open house. We love doing open houses that are under contract. We don't care if they're getting ready to close, as long as the owner will let us in the home. People come in and they're like, well, I'll let you know this home's just went under contract. The great thing is we've called the whole neighborhood. We have 2 or 3 other owners that are interested in selling, and their home's not even on the market yet. What are you looking for? So you can take it, it's sales. You can take it down any direction, whether it's available, whether it's sold. And
so what's your approach, and how do you prevent, say, like a sale open house? I've done a few for other people where 4 hours I'm there, not one person shows up. I send out postcards, I let the whole neighbors know, the whole neighborhood, like at least a week in advance, I'm having an open house this Saturday.
I can spend, I don't want to spend too much time on that. I can just give you kind of a quick breakdown of what we do. We usually want to start our open houses about 5 days before we host the event. And we have a couple different systems that we use for it. The first one is we want to get a home. We look at it geographically on the map. We don't want to have a home that's got 32 left turns and 64 right turns. We want to have somewhere with 10 to 12 signs. We can get good exposure to a good area with a lot of traffic. So obviously, first one is getting the right location. Second one is, I know people don't like it, but when I was doing them for Wally, we use balloons. Helium balloons. I know people are trying to do the flags and the banners, but we've always just had the success with the balloons. To me, it lets people know, hey, someone's at this open house today. Because signs sit. I was in the Green Valley bathroom last week, and an agent walked up to me I didn't even know. He's like, hey, I saw one of your open house signs on Burkholder and Lake Mead. And obviously it was one of my agents. It's been sitting there for like 3 weeks. And we went and got it, and it was still there. So know where you're putting your signs, know how many you have, and get them in places that they're visible. But so we'll do that, and then we also will, is Rock Title here?
It's kind of in and out. Oh, there's back there.
That we communicated, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, again, I know I talked to Shane, he said he couldn't make it. So get with Rock Title, get the call list for the neighborhood. Circle prospect it, we usually go 200, depending on how much time we have. I know you guys are getting into, they got some great software now that they're using, I think Black Knight, right? Yeah. Black Knight or Cole Realty, they can pull cell phone lists, they can pull lists. So we'll get those lists, and if we're doing open house on Friday or Saturday, we'll try to have the list ordered on Monday, get the list in on Tuesday, and we'll start circle prospecting the neighborhood. One thing we like to do when calling the neighbors is we like to offer them a VIP short open house prior to opening it up to the public, especially with how limited inventory is right now. That seems to work really well for us. Kind of put up the velvet rope for them. That people have always loved that, and they always will. So we make it feel like it's a special opportunity for neighbors. And now with how low inventory is, we tell them they can bring one friend or family member from outside the neighborhood, but please only bring one because we're getting too many people to these. And it sounds corny, but believe it or not, it works. We have people that, I have an agent that told me I had a person show up, and the owner was like, see, I told you I'd get you into this house. like it was like VIP nightclub or something. But so just little things like that. So then we call that, when we get a hold of these people in the neighborhood, the other thing we do is we actually turn it into a soft seller lead. Oh, by the way, Mr. Jones, just so you know, I've been researching this neighborhood. I know all the comps. We've been looking at each model. I have market analysis put together on each home. I see you're in the 2850 square foot home. When you stop by the open house, just come introduce yourself to me, and I'll give you a market analysis I put together. So a soft opening there to turning it into a listing. So we do that. You can, door knock with flyers. There's endless things. But
do you limit that market analysis for like maybe just the most immediate nearby homes, like on the same street? Because I feel like doing, I don't know, an individual analysis for like, let's say there's 40 homes in this place. So
right. Well, I know, but let's face it. There's probably 4 models in the neighborhood, right? Whether there's 40 homes or 400. So we just let them know that we've figured out an average and every home's going to be different based on backyard upgrades and that. But so yeah, that's basically a whole class on the open house. I don't want to go too much, but hopefully that's a little help to you.
Whatever you have, I'll be there.
Okay. So sphere of influence, open houses. The other one, our favorite one, all of our agents love, is the dialer. So now we spend 2 hours a day, Monday through Friday, on a Mojo dialer. And this is where we lose probably 50 to 60% of our agents. So we finally gotten smart. We make them come in and sit for 2 hours with one of our best callers before we let them start and say, this is the most difficult part of the job. Are you sure you can handle this? Because if not, we're just wasting everyone's time. We don't onboard them or anything. Get in, make sure they can do it for 2 hours, and we lose a lot of people from that. But this is where 90% of our team's business come from newer agents. So we have that, those are the 3, and then the other one we use Commissions Inc., could be Top Producer, whatever it is, where the agents are getting leads or pulling out of the Mojo dialer or internet leads that are assigned to them.
Yeah.
We put them in our Commissions Inc., so they do, this is 2 hours a day, and then we do our sync follow-up, and that is 1 hour a day after the calling. So we're really only committing these people to 3 hours a day. If they work 3 hours a day, they're going to close probably 2 deals a month with our team. And it's still like pulling teeth to get them to do it. And it all comes back to the accountability. You have to have someone hold them accountable. People make money when they work at Albertsons or when they work at a retail store because they know they got to punch in at 8 o'clock and they got to punch out at 5. In real estate, we don't have that. That's where we start losing people.
No. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, let's have somebody else ask some questions back there now. Come on now, we got time to kill. Go ahead, Skipper, go ahead.
I know that you use your SOI a lot, stuff like that, but on your dialer, you aren't calling those guys every day, so where do you get that call list from?
Great question. We have all different kinds of lists. I get pretty creative. We do circle prospecting, should be able to come from Rock Title. We specialize in a couple zip codes. We have all those pulled. That's tens of thousands of people at a time. Circle prospect for open houses that the agents are doing. That's another one that fills up quite a few contacts. And now we're starting to do just unique stuff. If anyone's using the dialer and they're running out of data to dial, get with Rock Title and say, hey, give me a list of whatever area you're focusing in, if it's Summerlin or Henderson or wherever it is, and say, give me a list of all the homes that expired over the past 18 months that haven't been relisted.
We can get that list. That's easy to get. Yeah, I get stuff from Rock Title too. Okay. One of my difficulties is finding a legitimate phone number. Where you get your phone number?
Oh, find a legitimate phone number? Right. I think they're using, if they're using Black Knight or Cole, it's going to be about as accurate as you're going to get for mass contacts. Now if we're breaking it down, like people, we specialize in high-rise, so any high-rise expired, withdrawn, we call it. And so for that, we use LexisNexis, which is, it's not cheap, it's a very intense, no, it's pretty pricey, but if you're using it, it makes sense. But I think Rock Title, I think some of the software they're getting is brand new, right?
Yeah, the Black Knight system, this is something that I had spoken on in the beginning. The Black Knight system, they pull their system, or they pull their phone numbers from another vendor. We've been using it for a little while. We've been experimenting with it. The numbers have been fairly accurate. I know it's hit or miss with these phone numbers sometimes, just because you get landlines, you get dead numbers, people change their cell phone numbers. But what Jim had mentioned, and this is about as accurate as you're going to get as far as.
The other good one that we like for mass list is Cole.
Yeah.
C-O-L-E. Those are all cells that generate cell numbers. Those are pretty good as well. So these are the activities these are called minimum standards. That's all we require out of them. Most of these some of them are experienced agents, some of them are newer. It's very difficult to keep them committed, but when we do, they hit the numbers that we're looking for, and then once they've hit the minimum standards, then we let them in on the team's business. That's the other side of the business over here, which are our referrals, our own internet leads, sign calls, farming calls, that kind of stuff. Yes, ma'am?
You have CINC kind of fluffed over that. What does that mean?
Oh, this is Commissions Inc. follow-up. That's just our database follow-up. So agents.
Question.
Okay.
We've tried in different ways. Do you serve food? How do you handle that in the open house, if at all?
Oh, with open houses, we don't usually serve food. We usually have drinks. Some of the agents will bring cookies. I think it's more of the prep work. Unless the cookies smell really good, you're probably not going to be drawing people in the door with them. So we focus more on the sales aspect of and prepping for the open house. Because if our agents do an open house and they have no one in the door, they haven't prepared for it, right? Because that should almost never happen if the open house is pre-marketed and structured properly.
Great, thank you.
So these are the three that we have. What do you guys see? What else? Jillian gave her example. What else is top producing activities for you guys generating business?
So I have a question. We're doing a program called Outbound Engine, which is some social media.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Are you doing
I'm not
it?
using it. I've heard of it though.
Anybody in here using it? Nobody. Okay.
What does it do?
Are you getting any business from it?
No.
Okay.
No.
Let's keep that one off the list.
Well, we've only been doing it.
Okay, no,
about 3
I'm
months.
just kidding. Social media is huge. We do a lot of social media. I have a full-time manager. We don't focus it towards generating business. It's not a big business producer for us, but I know a lot of teams it is. So you just have to pick what works for you.
Yeah, what I like about it, they send out a campaign about 3 times a month, and they use to get feedback and how many open the emails,
Right.
and they just take our database and load it out. They don't
Yeah.
do enough so that it's spam, but
Sure.
I just wondered if anybody.
At some point that you just need to make sure you're tracking the expense versus the
I just wondered if
return.
anybody else was using it at all.
No, I don't. Yes, sir.
We also use Facebook targeted ads daily, and we
Okay.
also do Google pay-per-click ads. We've got a guy that actually does them for us.
And the Facebook's cheap, right?
It is
A lot cheaper than Google.
Yeah, the cost per lead is pretty cheap compared to the Google pay-per-click, but we generate probably about 12 to 15 leads a day off of those two.
Gotcha. So now, Wally, this is what I was discussing with Wally. If you guys are willing to commit to this, I would really encourage it. I promise you, if you guys take and commit to doing a time block, 2 to 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, you will, I mean, some of you might already be doing that, some of you are very successful, have teams doing large production, but those of you that aren't, if you do that, I promise you, if you have purposeful activities, you will generate business from it. And I don't know, Wally probably doesn't have time to hold all 500 agents accountable in his office, but the kind of like I discussed with him, you might not want to go spend $1,000 or $1,500 a month with a trainer. Partner up with either someone in this classroom or partner up with someone that you know in the office. Say, hey, I'm focused on this. I got to turn my business around. Can we set up 2 calls a week, or can we talk daily after I do my activity, and will you hold me accountable to doing this? Most people won't do it, but if you do it, you'll get business from it. We do it, our office does it, and so moving on to the next step, I don't probably need to write this out on the board, but so then how do we get our team to get these activities committed on a daily basis? And the way that we do that is by time blocking. So if you walk through the Green Valley office by our offices, you'll see every office with a team member will has 2 signs on their door. One is the time blocking schedule, what their time blocking hours are for each day. And the next one is a big red stop sign that says stop, do not knock, do not enter, time blocking. And so even with the people that work on my team, I'm right there next to them every day. We have to put that accountability in place or they won't do their daily activities. And so I think time blocking is a huge one. Is there anyone that time blocks in here, and any thoughts that they'd like to share? Yes, sir.
Well, I've been time blocking for a long time, and it certainly has become very fashionable. That, you know, I hear a lot about it, you know, that Wally's brought it up. I think it's probably one of the best tools that we have because it creates discipline. And that's accountability and discipline, I think, are important.
Well, yeah, and you know, you hear people talk all the time, and there's a lot of good coaching companies, people that focus on time management. We focus on, I feel you can't really manage time. There's 60 seconds in a minute, there's 60 minutes in an hour, you can't change that. So what we do is we focus on task management. So instead of focusing on the time, we focus on the task. And we have to be very purposeful about it, and we have to be very serious about it. Until I have one of my employees time blocking at least 30 days in a row where they've got it into a habit, I set up a teleconference call with them at the end of their time block. As soon as their time block ends, the system automatically rings them. I'm like, hey, how'd your time blocking go today? Were you successful? Nope, I got 60 minutes instead of 120. What happened? What'd you do wrong? What can we do tomorrow to make sure you have success with it? And there, it's back to the accountability again. And so if you don't have accountability in this business, you're going to fail. And time blocking is one really good way of being able to do that.
What do you use to establish the time block?
Could you help me understand that question better, please?
Yeah, time block. What do they use to establish the time block? Is there an application?
Is it like in a Google Calendar?
Oh, no. We just set
Block them in a row?
Yeah. Basically, what our time blocking is we set up. We try to avoid. We have one person that has to, but we try to avoid time blocking between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. There's a lot of scientific studies. There's a couple good books out on it that humans' production and success level is the lowest between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. in the afternoon. So we try to get everyone's time blocking in the morning or late afternoon. We have one person that does late afternoon. But we just create a schedule. Everybody knows on our team who's on the schedule. We have them shut off their cell phones. They know they're not answering the phone during that 2 hours. And then we kind of all help and oversee and make sure that they stay on focus with it. And 60, 90, 180 days down the road, I'll back off of it. I'll follow back up on it, and everyone's gone sideways again. So it's an ongoing task. Okay, let's see here.
So the time blocking, are they doing cold calls? What are they doing in that time?
Well, so yeah, it's different so our agents are committed to time blocking from 8:30 till 11:30. They come in, we script and role play for 20-30 minutes. They get on the dialer for 2 hours. They do sync follow-up for an hour, and then they have to do they also have to do their open houses during the week or on the weekends. Now I make all my staff time blocks as well. They may be working on projects, they may be our escrow and listing coordinator, be working on escrows or listings. It's just a time to set aside where there's no distractions, and they set up one purpose that day, the staff does. What are they trying to accomplish? And so for the agents, the time blocking, what I'd recommend time blocking is identifying your 3 activities that produce you the business. That's where you should be spending your time blocking. Don't sit in time block and say, I'm gonna organize my emails, or it's, you need to focus on stuff that's actually gonna produce income. How are we doing on time, Wally?
Yeah, you got another 10 minutes or so.
So, I guess as far as these activities, I think we went over a few of them. Does anyone have any other of these activities that you guys would like to discuss, break down, kind of show you how we do it on our teams, or anything else would be helpful?
You were talking about single family for your new agents. What about your high rise?
Yeah, I jump all over, sorry. A lot of squirrels running around. So our high rise is a little bit different. We have agents that have worked the high rise for years that are on our team, but all the activities are the same. The time blocking's the same. Our business is a little bit different. So instead of the open houses, the dialer, and the follow-up, our main 3 sources that generate our business on the high-rise are going to be our sphere of influence, which is going to be our repeat clients that we stay in touch with. It's going to be geographic farming. We've farmed a lot of the high-rise towers for many, many years. And the third one's going to be, actually there's 3 and 4. Websites. We have a couple custom high-rise websites just for our team. And then we also have we use some third-party sites. Condo.com, I've controlled the market here. I've gotten with those guys 10 years ago. We generate a lot of leads from them. The only other thing, I don't really do anything with Zillow. We've never been able to have success with that. The only other thing on third parties is on Realtor.com and Trulia. And I think in Zillow we buy our leads back on our listings, which sucks. Our listings, they make us pay for them. And so, yes, sir.
In your Facebook ads, what interests and kind of demographics, how do you target based on who's likely to buy? Or I've been taking like webinars on the Facebook ads as a whole for e-commerce, and when you're selling like a tangible product like a phone case, it's very easy to limit or hone in who you're looking for, kind of your target audience. So
sure.
In real estate, it seems a little more broad, right? So you find homeowners, age demographics, but beyond the interests of real estate, what are you looking for in terms of major interests in order to really pull quality engagement, quality?
Yeah, I won't be the right person to answer that question, just because I have a full-time social media person that works with my director of ops, and I know very little about it.
Sounds like you need to come to Tech Tuesday, my friend.
Yeah,
Tech Tuesday. Every one of them so far.
Tech Tuesday.
Right up your alley. Jillian.
So can you tell us a little bit about your team structure? Like who does what are the positions, like staff, agents? That'd be great.
Yeah. You want me to write it out? Can you see it?
I can't see it, but whatever you want to do.
Well, we already got to start. So yeah, we're working on trying to expand ourselves, but it's always finding the right talent, which isn't the easiest thing to do. So basically we have our team. Our team structure boils down here. You have myself. So I operate as the CEO owner. My goal is within 2 years to remove myself as CEO because I'm not very good at it. And I think I'm limiting a lot of the success of my business. So that's kind of the core on the staff side. Then we go down, we have Siobhan. She's our director of ops. She handles all of the, I don't even know what she does more than I know what she does, but anything to do with our software, our phones, our billing, she does all of our accounting. For you, Jillian, if you're looking, who do you guys use for your bookkeeping?
I have an offsite CPA.
Okay.
That runs the books.
I think it might be worth you looking into. They've been really good. I have my CPA is actually up here in Summerlin somewhere, but I found a company that got referred to me. It's called SBS, Streamlined Business Solutions, and they only do bookkeeping for top producing real estate teams. They have like 600 teams across the country, and all they do is the bookkeeping for them. And the beautiful thing is once they get the first year of analytics and stats done, then they break down every expense and they compare you percentage-wise, what you're high on, what you're low on. Yeah, it's been really beneficial.
I like that.
I think it's only like $400 a month. I mean, I thought it was going to be $1,500 a month.
Yeah.
So Siobhan's our director of ops, and we go down to our next staff person. That's Mindy, and so she's our listing coordinator and our escrow coordinator. And so she does all the marketing on the listings. When the agents take a listing, they basically turn the paperwork in and they're done. They follow up on offers and counters, but we pretty much handle everything at the staff level. Okay, so we got Mindy, we got her. Then we have the two breakdowns again of our the single family and then the high rise. So on the single family, we have a lead agent or team lead, or we had one. That didn't work, I let her go. But this is really the key to the success of building this model with agents. I think we have, I don't know, six or seven agents right now on this side. And the team, actually it'd be under here, because the team lead is responsible for making sure their accountability, their open houses, their dialer, all their commission database follow-up. Yep.
So in those agents, do you have a threshold, I don't want to say requirement, but a threshold of what you expect each agent should be closing a year? Transactions, how many transactions?
Yeah, 1.8 or basically around 20, 15 to 20 a year.
20 a year. And are they meeting those benchmarks?
Most of them are not.
And if they're
I'm still pretty new at this,
okay.
at this side in the expansion of the single family, so we've had a lot of failures on it.
Yeah. And are they doing only purchase or only buyers, or are you letting them do listings?
No, we let them do they do listings and buyers.
Okay.
They do both. All transactions, buyers, sellers, go under my public ID. The goal and the success all comes from the number of transactions you can get under the team, not the agents.
Yeah.
We have a few that are like, well, if they don't see the value in that, it's not the right fit for the team.
Yeah.
But
okay.
yeah, we're still growing at that and failing forward on a pretty much a daily basis.
Do you look for people that are like newbies, that you're trying to kind of mold them to the way you want them, or you look for?
Yeah, we really have three main things we look for. Are they workable? Do they have the work drive? If they got the work drive, are they workable? Are they likable? And I forgot the third one.
Are they flexible?
Are they flexible?
We got some bulls here.
Yeah, are they? Do they have the work ethic? Are they likable? And
Teachable.
yeah, who said that? Teachable. That's what it is. The team. That's the team lead's responsibility. So I don't remember all of it. But so then we have our high rise, which is Heidi's our high rise manager, and then we have a high rise administrator. That's Sandra right in the back of the room. She came over today. She officially started tomorrow.
All right.
So welcome, Sandra. And then the other thing that we're starting to do is we're starting to funnel a few of these. There'll be one or two other agents here, and we're starting to funnel them into more of a showing agent role. So what we're finding is a lot of these agents, they want to be in real estate. They're not willing to talk on the phone for 2 hours a day.
Yeah.
And they're like, I have to go get a part-time job. And they're serving food, serving drinks, whatever it may be. So we're creating a model for the people that fit the criteria that we're interested in, and we're putting basically an hourly paid type job in place with a bonus on anything that closes for showing property. So that's actually working real well for us, but there's a whole model and system. You have to be real careful as a team owner on that, because now your agents have more face-to-face interaction than you do as the team, so there can be some challenges there.
Did you say you were looking for a team lead?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Yeah, we're looking for a
Little
team
plug.
lead, yep.
Hang on a second, how much does it pay? No.
Commission based, 110%.
Do I qualify?
Yeah, you're probably overqualified. I don't think I could handle you, Jillian.
Julie and I
It'd be too much for me.
Julie and I are gonna put our resumes together.
Jim, I had watched you at the teams thing, and I remember, you know, you say failing forward, and we all make mistakes and learn. I just am curious. You were talking about your, I think, finances or what your percentages were. That like you'd done this huge amount of volume and did really well, but the amount of money that you ended up taking home was not as impressive. So have you improved on that? And what steps did you do to do that?
A lot of different steps. One was getting that bookkeeping company to really evaluate where we are. My 2 goals that I'm trying to achieve is to be high on employee income and pay and high on net profit. We're getting there on the net profit, we're high on the employee income, and you know, when you're at the level that, with mega teams or large teams working with multiple people, if you can hit a 30% net profit, you're winning. Anything from low 20s to mid to high 20s is about average. High 20s to, if you're in the low 30s, you're really exceeding. So I have to sell all these agents on my team that, hey, I'm working on a 28 to 30% split as well. So we try to educate them. Look at the profit, don't look at the split.
What are your splits?
Our splits, be happy to share them with you. So again, little different model. It's kind of hard to go through the splits without showing you the whole model because there's a lot of value that I don't have the time to go through. So our splits to our agents, they get a 45% split on buyers. The company keeps 55, and I know you kind of rolled your eyes a little.
I did. Sorry.
Right. So, but again, it's we actually prefer to look for people that are not in real estate. Most of my recruiting comes from people not licensed because a lot of them. One thing that we've learned is broke agents usually first question out of their mouth is what's the split, and successful agents say what can I net in a year. Right.
Well, and to your just point of that and bringing this whole thing together is I think a lot of people realize when you're operating this as a business, so it's not always just about the split. Right. And for what you offer, because it's similar and I understand I've been there, I've been on both sides, for what you offer when you're saying they take, you know, they basically get it in escrow and then you don't touch it to keys.
Right.
You don't touch the whole, so that has value because what the agent should be doing in that time is selling property.
Yeah.
Correct.
So they shouldn't be touching it. Same thing with us. I mean, when it gets into escrow, you don't touch it to its keys.
Right.
And so you're done. And so that value, because it should be freeing you up to do what you do best. But people don't understand how expensive it is to run a team. And that's a great thing. I'm glad you touched on that.
My pleasure.
Did you cut any of your expenses on advertising, or was there anything that was kind of bleeding you before?
No.
Over percentages with us, what do you think you spend on expenses?
Yeah, I don't have all the numbers in front of me, but my wages is number 1, and then marketing would be number 2. Our profitability is right about 29 to 30%, so it's right where we'd like to see it. Obviously, we have spent a lot of money and put a lot of systems in place, and now the goal is to get to the next level where the profitability increases. It's just, you know, there's different challenges we face. One, the lack of inventory, number of transactions being down. Yes, sir.
I had a question about what you just said about your systems. What do you use for a CRM to keep track of your database, whether it's Top Producer or any of the other ones out there? Maybe that would.
Sure. Yeah, I used Top Producer for many years. What I liked about Top Producer is our escrow coordinator. We could put our transaction plans in there. We could put all of our listing and escrow plans in there. The challenges that we had with it was
all the time it took to set up.
The learning curve, and then just the lack of ability of Top Producer to be able to be good when you're trying to distribute leads and accountability to multiple team members. So we use a system now. It's called Commissions Inc. It's really similar to the a lot of people have heard of Boomtown.
Is that Barbara Corcoran's Commissions Inc?
What's that?
Is that Barbara Corcoran's Commissions Inc?
No, Fidelity actually purchased it about 10 months ago. They also purchased SkySlope. So it's owned by Fidelity, but it's not you know, I paid $2,000 a month for it. Top producer, I had 10 accounts, I was paying like $350, but where we're at and where we're trying to go, we had to have it. It's not gonna be for the average, it's not gonna be a good investment.
I find this pretty interesting. I went to an RA event last week where Dillian was at too, and Kenny Fast was up there, and he's a mega producer in San Francisco, and one of the things he was talking about was not just how much he spends on marketing, but the systems that he has in place.
Sure.
And you know, I've been speaking with him on the side to kind of, you know, find out about learning curve and how long it takes to get everything set up and how much it costs, and that's a hugely important topic if everybody's wanting to become more efficient. Is those systems to put in place and how long it takes you to figure them out, how much it costs you to get to get up and running. So these are all things.
You have to have the systems in order to do volume. The
Right,
key is
right. That's what I'm trying
volume.
to bring out at that point is if everybody wants to, you know, become more efficient and more productive, they're going to have to use some of these systems that guys like you guys are using from the start. They've already gone through the learning curve and figured it out. So, you know, listen to what these guys are saying and ask these questions to see what they're using that works and helps them become more efficient.
Yeah, systems and models. That's really the main focus of our business. Systems and models, and in this market, it's doing the basics of the business better than anyone else. It's not a tough business what we're doing. The actual real estate part of it isn't tough. The lead generation, the systems and the models, staying in touch with the clients, that's where we all fail. Yes, sir.
Jim, I agree with you wholeheartedly. You know, there are million systems out there for realtors, and they all claim to be able to do a job and work the way you work, but very few, if any of them do. Okay, so you develop your own system.
Absolutely.
Start your own system.
Yeah, just do something.
You pay this month after month after month to these guys, and these systems don't work well, including top producers.
Not if you're not implementing. Right. And you know, you could use a Outlook spreadsheet. If you had the contact like he said he was having, you're gonna have great success from it.
Yeah. I'll just throw one little ringer into the mix. You know, the future of our entire planet is going to be hinged around AI, artificial intelligence. And so I'm trying to develop a system right now with our existing leads and any new leads that come in through social media, through Google pay-per-click, with the text bots. So it's an actual, not a person that follows up with the lead when they come in. They develop into a conversation with them. And they never stop, ever, 24 hours a day, talking to these leads and asking them questions about real estate and how you would answer. It's all text, back and forth.
There's a couple of good, I know there's one or two, I'm trying to think of them. I know I have it in my notes somewhere, I heard it at a conference. Do you know that you're trying to create it yourself?
No.
I was gonna say, because I'm not that smart.
No.
So do you know what's the name of the? Do you know what's the name of the company? I know there's one. I'd share it with. It's in my notes, but.
Chats is one.
GevoChat. Well, there's Riley is a big one.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. Get Riley, right? Is it Get Riley?
Yeah, that's the one. Honestly, right now, I can't even remember the name of the guy. It's a new company.
I don't know the other one. Get Riley is.
What's the other one?
I was networking with a large team that was using Get Riley, and the only problem that he was having was they were having such good success with it that they couldn't get their agents to pick up the phone or contact their leads. They were just letting them go to Get Riley, and so he actually canceled it because his agents got too lazy.
And he just ended up pissing on the
right.
You know, you talk about artificial intelligence. That's exactly a focus that Cuba's had for about a year and a half now. And just for the dynamics of us as well too, and who he wants to put, you know, he says he doesn't want to hire everybody, he just wants the top 10% of the million out there, right? And if you think about it, how to get that is through AI, and he's been doing that a lot as well too. We're going to wrap this up here pretty quick, and Jim's going to do a final talk like a final note like Jerry Springer here in a minute. A final thought. There you go.
Dance break.
Go ahead, Bill.
Companies out there that you can develop chat bots with that you can start off and they're free. One is mini chats, and the other is chat fuel. Okay, and they're all text-based. As long as you know what your process is for going after clients, you can put all that into text.
Right.
And both of them are AI, okay? And you get those responses back from users. And both of them will record, they picked it, if you use Facebook, okay, they pick the user up from Facebook, they put it where you want it, like I use Zapier, okay? And they put it out in Zapier.
Yeah, and it really just depends what level you're at and how much business you have. My recommendation, if you're newer, don't spend the money on all these sexy apps and gadgets, just do the work yourself. Sit down 2 hours a day and text these people or call them. Everything that we do in our team, in our business, whether it's email, text, video, text, whatever it is we're trying to drive the consumer to a phone call. Our strength is the phone. So we want to get people on the phone, and the goal of the phone is to get in front of them on an appointment, or just list the property. On the high rise, we just list the property quite often without even meeting the consumer because most of them are out of state.
That's actually a market demographic I was going to ask how you got involved in, and for someone who wants to get into that portion of the market, any starting points?
Into the high rise?
Yeah, it's actually my introduction.
There's a small piece of the whole puzzle.
And Jim has it all.
There's only a couple hundred high-rise listings on the market right now out of.
Yeah, it's not a huge market. There's only between 800 and 1,000 transactions annually.
When I first started, like,
did you just hear what he said? He had some key information here just said here that he just talked. So go ahead and say that again, Jim.
Yeah, last year there was there were about, I think, 815 high-rise closings from the MLS. Now you have some from the development side that aren't getting posted on the MLS, but I would never tell someone not to do it. If you're going to do it, you just need to be focused, you need to be committed, and you should probably start with one project, and you need to learn everything there is to know about it.
Okay.
And all the litigation, because like 99% of them
Right.
go to litigation at some point or another. Yeah, so to know everything about the lawsuits, that's the first step.
All right, let's go ahead and wrap this up because we've had an hour and a half with Jim, and I just there's a couple things I just want to finish up on, and Jim, you can kind of finalize this too. But Jim made a couple basic things here. I mean, he's said the phone calls. We've never heard that before in real estate, have we?
Never.
Making phone calls, all right, and accountability, showing up, doing your job, and it just depends on what level that you want to do it at. I mean, you can do it at hundreds of transactions, or you can do it at 20 a year. And so it doesn't seem like this is a big, huge boom. That was brand new information. It's just somebody doing it,
yep.
Right? And we kind of talked about that yesterday as well. And Lenny and I are committed on twice a week doing a lot of the things that you guys are asking. And it's just we got to stay focused on it, stay committed on it, and stay accountable to that. So, any final thought, Jerry? I mean,
Jerry Lewis.
We got 5%.
Thanks for the opportunity. I always just like to. I've worked at a lot of the other big companies, as a lot of you have. I was at Prudential, Remax, Better Homes and Gardens, and they have it figured out here. In my opinion, I travel and network with a lot of teams now, and Realty One is definitely cutting edge. I wouldn't be anywhere else. I system and model with some other the companies, but for location and for the goals that we're looking to achieve and the support and the branding that we have in this Vegas market, you're just not going to find a better company, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Dilly dilly.
Well, let's thank Jim for his time today, man. Thank you very much. All right, guys, have an awesome day. And